What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Geek Out Room podcast. Today we are reviewing season 2 of X-Men 97. Let's get it. If you haven't seen it, pause it, go watch it, come on back and join us for the discussion. And you already know the spiel. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we on it. Just type in Geek Out Room podcast and you should find us. Now let's get to the meat and bones because I have a lot to discuss about X-Men 97. Listen, man. This episode, or this season, was enjoyable, but felt really lackluster, especially compared to season 1. Because season 1 had momentum, it had fire, man, it had passion, it just had a level of writing that I really think deserves all the Emmys. Whereas season 2 felt it felt soulless. It felt like a husk at times. It had strong momentum with the first couple episodes, but then slowed down to a halt because it was speed running so much. It was speed running so much. And because you don't have a high episode count, it really does feel like they're doing these episodes like they don't know if they'll have another season. And I need them to take a deep breath, and I need Disney to be like, this show's clearly successful and clearly has a huge fan base. Let us expand the episode count, or at least expand the minutes per episode. Because you speed running through this many storylines and all this development is leaving the characters feeling like just feeling empty. Like Scott and Jean, this is their whole thing. This is the Summers family drama, and they feel like passengers in their own story this season because they also have to because the writers have to make room for Rogue and Gambit and Apocalypse, and that's a lot to go through in 9 episodes, and this season suffers greatly because of it. Again, Scott and Jean feel like passengers. Cable's the key in all of this, and he has his moments for sure, but he still feels like a passenger in his own, is literally his own story. And I just think they sped run Gambit way too much. I just feel like we got 10 minutes of Horseman Gambit, who didn't really do too much, and it just felt empty. It didn't feel, when in the season finale when we got him back, it didn't feel as rewarding as it should have. It just didn't feel, the build up for it was so greatly executed, but the execution of it all felt very lackluster, right? And don't be wrong, there's episodes in this season that felt like that's people said were filler. I disagree heavily. The only episode that I think that could be deemed filler is the Wolverine solo episode or focused episode, only because they did not, at least this season, they did not do anything with Wolverine. Like like I don't know, it just felt really weird. Like it was kind of like never. He just got his adamantium claws. He went through that whole like depression, like not depression, but like they just skipped so much Wolverine story. They skipped so much Wolverine story to the point where I don't even know why they give him that solo episode. To be honest, and this is how they're going to do his character. Because Wolverine doesn't feel like he's a part of the X-Men to me. This is my opinion. He does not feel like he's a part of the X-Men. He feels like some indispensable, like he feels like he's not indispensable. He just feels like a tool, which I know that's how he views, like a killing machine. But in terms of the grand scheme of where he fits and what he means to the X-Men, this iteration of the team, this 10-year team, Wolverine means a lot to this team and to the people on this team. And it just feels like the writers are going out of their way to not make that true by giving so much of his dynamics and relationships with some of the X-Men to other characters. And I really hate that they're doing that because I do think it compromises the overall team. I think it compromises the overall quality of the show as well. But you have the situations where Rogue and Gambit, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of over, not over the characters, but I'm happy they're together. Let's just get them married and move on. I don't want to rehash this because it just felt so sloppily put together, And Apocalypse, And time travel is a very complex and hard thing to write. And a lot of people cannot write time travel movies or anything with time travel attached to it. It is very hard to write. And X-Men 97 season 2 proved how hard it is to write. Now, granted, again, they have 9 episodes to tell this story. It also contributes to the difficulty. It adds to Ori impossible task more impossibility to it. And I think the show just suffers greatly because of it. And I mean, even the moment or the episode with Danger Room felt so random and poorly built up that when it happens, it just feels like, why is this happening? I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel well thought out. You have the new X-Men mega building that feels random. Like there's so many things that just happen, and the X-Men just happen, and then they just get new suits. They get more members coming back. They get all these things, and there's just no development. There's no time to let any of this breathe, to let characters be characters, to let character moments happen. What made season one so good is that you had these great interaction dynamics and moments with characters. You had the moment where Logan kisses was it Jean? Yeah, it was Jean. Not Madeline Pryor, was Jean. And then you had Jean walk in basically telepathically, but walk in on Scott and Madeline Pryor, in a way. Like you have all that kind of really cool, interesting drama. The X-Men are like a soap opera with superpowers. That's what the property is basically. Um, and this season felt so random. I mean, Forge and Storm, like that was a huge highlight of season one. They didn't go anywhere. Like that didn't progress. I don't know, man. It just felt so sloppy. It felt entertaining at times when the high is high, but outside of that, it felt really piss poor and low. It felt of low quality story wise. The writing of season one versus two is dramatically worse. Like the pacing is dramatically. I mean, the pacing's the same as season one, if not a little faster. But again, the great writing and moments covered for the fast pacing. But this season felt like they took like 3 to 4 or 5 different storylines and mashed them all together, where they really should just focus on Apocalypse. Like they didn't focus on Apocalypse solely, and that's a huge bummer because Apocalypse is a great villain, is overpowered, and deserves way more time. Also, I thought the whole point was that he's gonna get more horsemen. Like they didn't even give Apocalypse any new horsemen. I the way they treat Wolverine, I knew they were not going to make Wolverine a horseman. Like they just do not care to give Wolverine any interesting storylines. They just want to make him suffer. And I was going to use a word that I shouldn't use on this podcast, but if you know, you know. They just kind of want him to be like a third wheel to Scott and Jean. Let's just say that. I don't know. They just make him. They're making Wolverine like a side piece of Morph's story, and I hate that. I really do because Wolverine's a very popular character and matters a lot to the X-Men franchise. And I just hate that they're it's like he's make like they're making Wolverine a byproduct of Morph's story instead of the other way around. I really like that doesn't feel right to me, and that if that makes sense. And yeah, the story, you can't go to season three like this, man. I just don't see people looking forward to season four if you treat season three like you did here. And season three is pretty much already complete from what I've gathered. So it could, if they did the same pacing, I'm gonna have huge problems with season three, man. I really am. But yeah, the story just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel complete. The characters don't get time to breathe. Don't get time to be characters. I feel like there's always just doing stuff, but it's not amounting to anything. It's not going anywhere, and it doesn't feel as fulfilling. Like the end of every episode didn't make me like, oh man, I can't wait till it. Like it's, I just didn't get that. I got that after the Magneto death, but then I never got it again. Even the way they treated Nightcrawler's death felt sped run. It felt like they're like, oh shit, we ran out of time in this episode. It just didn't feel good. I felt like everyone else who dies gets like a moment to breathe, a moment to like be grieved. And I felt, especially how they just abruptly ended this episode, you would think they would do something that, like, they end this episode like there's episode 10. They ended episode 9 like there's episode 10. And that right there is the issue that greatly illustrates the issue of the season. Pacing, the care. There was so much more care and love into the characters in season 1 and the original series. This season felt like they didn't give a shit. This season felt like they were forced to do this, if that makes sense. And I really hate that. I really do. I wish I could say this season was amazing. It was cool. It was entertaining, but there's also nothing else on for nerds like me right now on TV. So like I was like, okay, cool. This is what I have to watch. But if there was competition for for during this season kind of would have been lost in the background. Whereas last season, I couldn't even imagine what every Wednesday. This is what I was watching. This was it. I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This season, I was like, okay. I'm looking forward to it because it's X-Men. I have nothing else to watch or do. But you shouldn't feel like this, especially with the quality of season 1. So I hope they find, if they have to scrap season 3, man, and say, hey, let's make it longer, let's do something to make it paced better. I rather them say, hey, you have to wait another 2 years for season 3 so that we can fix this. Because I'm telling you right now, if they do season 3 how they did season 2, it's going to be a really big disappointment. I would hate for that to happen. Because I just don't know, man. I just, again, outside of Morph, Professor X, and Polaris, I feel like everyone else didn't even matter. The Rogan and Gambit story didn't hit at all. At all, man. Again, when he came back, I didn't feel anything. And you could tell the beats with the music, like the story beats and the music, you can tell it's supposed to be this great, like Gambit's back. Okay. I mean, of course he's gonna be back because you sped run the Horseman Gambit thing. We saw him for like one episode. It was a ridiculous design. Then you followed that design, that piss poor design, with a comically, and I mean comically dumb Gambit taken over by Apocalypse design. You might as well just made it Apocalypse. You might as well just morphed his body into Apocalypse. This was so cartoon. It was so stupid. It was so stupid, man. It was so dumb. It felt like they set up so much other stuff. I felt like this whole season was dedicated to setting up Onslaught instead of telling a good story for Apocalypse. I felt like this whole season was dedicated to Charles and Magneto and Onslaught compared to like anything, like to actually telling a proper, fun, engaging story. And to me, they ultimately sacrificed season 2 for season 3. And so I'm hoping that season 3 delivers on everything they've told in season 2. Because if not, then the show's going to go down very quickly. And season 4 will be the last season. If they're going to pace it like this. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on X-Men 97 season 2 down below. Again, I know this is probably not the most positive review you're hoping for, but I just didn't feel any excitement. I didn't like how they did Nightcrawler. I thought it was good in practice, but not in execution. I feel they could have done give us a beat or two into his death. I just feel like like they said everything right and they did the right sacrifice. It just didn't hit because I feel like they just didn't give us a beat like they did with Gambit, like they did with Magneto. Even what they did when Wolverine got his adamantium taken out, like I just feel like they did Nightcrawler so dirty. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below. See you on the next one. Keep geeking out. Peace.